build consistency, because that's something that I'm really struggling with, and I know lots of you guys also struggle to be consistent at doing your stuff. Okay, some of you guys might struggle to exercise consistently. Some of you guys might struggle to study consistently. Some of you guys might struggle to limit your social media consumption. Some of you guys might struggle to sleep early and wake up early. And to be honest, I also share some of those struggle. Okay. Well, to be honest, I'm not really struggling anymore to exercise consistently, but I do struggle to meditate consistently. I do struggle to limit my social media consumption. And yeah, I've tried lots of things, lots of methods from the internet, from YouTube, about how to help myself stay consistent. And some of the method works, some of the other methods don't really work on me, but it might work on you. So yeah, basically I do admit that people have some different backgrounds. I have different backgrounds than you, and you have different preferences, different opinions and stuff. And yeah, basically I don't really believe that there's this one method that's going to, be the right method for everyone, because every person is unique. Okay? So consistency is a fun topic to actually, because it's really diverse, and it's really a wide topic to be talking about, because there's so much to explore. Okay, just because I have found the best method to make myself consistent doesn't necessarily mean that that particular method is also going to be effective for you, because hey, you are a different person with some different schedule, different business, different preferences, different passion, different hobbies, and lots of other differences than me. So yeah, basically I'm just gonna be, I want to have a holistic view on how to help people be consistent, and I acknowledge the difference that exists, and I wanted to just give as much as give as much as consistency insight that you might feel as helpful. Okay, and also the reasoning why some certain method is going to be effective, and also the conceptual understanding, conceptual explanation of why we behave in a hello Lex4 with the cat profile picture, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so hi, thank you for watching this live stream. This is going to be rehearsing for day 351 of consistently helping people build consistency. So I believe there are two really important things that we need to have when we are trying to be consistent at exercising, studying, meditating, literally doing anything. Okay, so first thing first, the thing that we need to have. So the thing that we need to have here is we need to create a plan. Okay, but not only we need to create a plan, we need to create a good plan. Okay, because we want to stick to this plan on the long run. In the long run. So how do we actually create a good plan? I'm currently rehearsing for day 351 of consistently helping people build consistency. I'm rehearsing for the speech that I'm going to be giving on my video. So yeah, so how do we actually create a good plan to help us stay consistent? So the thing here is we need to discuss the plan, discussing the plan with other version of ourselves. I'm going to be explaining this later. So first thing first, we need to be creating on a plan, because notice when we create some kind of plan, okay, for ourselves, what is the thing that we wanted to be consistent at? How are we going to execute it? We already ahead of most people, okay, because most people, they only say, oh yeah, I'm going to be exercising every single day, but they have no plan whatsoever. People say, oh yeah, I'm going to be studying, I'm going to start studying consistently from now on, but they also have never created any plan to execute it. Okay, they are not really serious about it. If you say that you are going to be consistent at doing something, but you don't have any plans whatsoever, well, like your seriousness is actually really questionable, because hey, what type of exercising are you going to be consistently doing? How many minutes are you going to be spending your time, dedicating your time on a day-to-day basis consistently? on doing your studying. How can you even be consistent at doing something when you don't even know what is the thing that you wanted to be consistent at? Okay, the idea of exercising is so not clear, is really unclear. The idea of only studying is really not clear. We need to create a plan that's specific and also measurable, some really clear plan. So for example, instead of saying, oh yeah, I'm going to be studying every single day, let's say I'm going to be reading a book for at least 5 minutes, for at least 10 minutes, for at least 10 minutes every single day. It is a really clear plan, in a sense that you can precisely know how much is enough, how much studying is enough studying. You set on a target of 5 minutes of reading a book every single day. You actually do the 5 minutes of reading a book on that particular day. You can actually say, wow, I've done the thing that I said that I'm going to be doing. Okay, so that's basically creating a really clear plan and why it's good at the end of the day. Because we are going to have the sense of clarity and also the fulfillment from finishing our task, okay? And we can 100% know how much is enough, okay? So here's the thing. When we are creating a good plan, a clear plan, we need to have it specific and also measurable. But we need to also make sure that this is a realistic plan. Realistic is important because, hey, if it's not realistic, well, we are not going to be able to stick to the thing on the long run. And when we are talking about consistency, well, definitely we wanted to be doing this thing not only in weeks, okay, but also in months, years, or even decades. We want to make something stick on the long run, okay? So how do we actually create on a realistic plan? Basically, as I've mentioned before, we need to discussing the plan with other version of ourselves. Basically, I'm going to be, maybe this is still a, what do you say, abstract concept, but I'm going to be explaining this. So discuss the plan with other versions of yourself. Remember, just try to remember that day, for on the last 6 months, on the past 6 months, when you are really exhausted or sick or feeling unmotivated. Maybe you just complete some really hard exam on your school, or maybe you have some really exhausting day, or you're feeling really unmotivated. So what you perceive, just imagine this version of yourself, okay? Just imagine yourself, this version of yourself being a part of this discussion of creating the plan. So here's the thing. What you perceive as realistic today might not necessarily be perceived as realistic by your tomorrow version of yourself. Just because it seems realistic today doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to also seem realistic the next day. We need to admit, when we are creating a plan, we are most likely to be feeling so motivated on that particular time, really motivated to create some big change in our life. So we might have some bias here, okay? We might, create some really unrealistic plan here because we overestimate our own ability to do something. It's easy to do something hard when you are feeling motivated. It's easy to put in hours to study when you are feeling really motivated. But is it still going to be easy? Is it still going to be realistic? On the days when you are not feeling motivated, on the days, and we are not only talking about motivation, right? We are also talking about energy and time. Is it still going to be realistic when we do it on the days when we have so much assignments, when we have already exhausted after studying for an exam, okay? After we are already exhausted with so much assignments that we need to do. So we want to see things more objectively. We want to have this third person view, an objective view whenever we are trying to create on a plan in order to create a sustainable plan. So we will see things more objectively when we include other versions of ourselves in this planning. Ask ourselves, if I give this task, if I give this goal of, let's say, 1 hour of studying a new language to my, to my version of myself that's really exhausted after a busy day on school? Will he or she be able to do it? Is it realistic for him or her? Okay, after all the energy is drained. And also ask yourself, is it going to be realistic if I give this task of studying for 1 hour or maybe doing 10 minutes of running for the version of myself that's sick? Okay, well, when we just see things more objectively like this, when we just take another perspective, okay, we are going to be able to create a more objective plan, a more realistic plan at the end of the day, because we are not only giving this task to our today's version of ourselves, which is feeling really motivated. We also position ourselves as a person that is really exhausted after a busy day on school. We also position ourselves as a version of ourselves that might be sick from some certain cause. Okay, we take on different perspective in order to create the most realistic and sustainable plan of consistency. You can also, integrate some mechanism, some days off mechanism in your plan. So for example, you create on a plan, a consistency plan, where you give yourself a monthly quota to take days off. Okay, so maybe like 5 days off per month. So you only take these days off when you feel like you really need to take those days off. For example, on the days when you are really exhausted from school, on the days when you are feeling sick and not necessarily that well. So this way, you can still stick to the plan on the long run consistently.